Oh, Balmora, Balmora, my sweet, lovely Balmora, the city of 1,000 overhauls with 9 near-infinite visions, a hub of urban activity in the otherwise uncivilized wilds of the frontier of Ardenfell. Today's mod of the day is actually an older mod, one we showcased many years ago, but which has since been updated and is still just a pretty neat overhaul worth checking out. For today's mod of the day is Kilkunda's Balmora by Kilkunda. Released way back in 2016, Kilkunda's Balmora can almost be considered the first modern overhaul for this famed capital of Great House Hlaalu. It was a more lightweight overhaul, focusing on detailing the city itself, adding immersive and lifelike additions, and to make the city feel like a living place, with clutter and industry, rather than just adding in a massive expansion to what is already the second largest city in the vanilla game. Prior to the release of Kilkunda's Balmora, most Balmora mods tended to be just a bit more in the vein of go big or go home, like the utterly massive 2004 classic Balmora expansion, which, a fun fact, was the most popular city overhaul and expansion mod for Morrowind up until the release of 2014's Epic Balmora by Mike and Ike. And that one is actually, I think, the most downloaded city overhaul on the Nexus for Morrowind. And just another example of this go big or go home design philosophy. And then there's Predator's City of Balmora, which, while technically released in 2017, a year after Kilkunda's, was largely designed in the late 2000s and very early 2010s. Today, Kilkunda's style city overhauls are very much the norm among the modern community, and the epic, big-size overhauls that were once a major staple for so many years in the Morrowind modern community have largely fallen out of favor, with a few exceptions, like the amazing Balmora expansion released in 2022. But anyway, Kilkunda's Balmora can kind of be seen as one of the original mods that spearheaded this change towards lightweight city overhauls. Obviously though, there are just a ton of newer Balmora city overhauls out there. But there is something about Kilkunda's that still, I think, just resonates pretty well today. And it's honestly just a lovely city overhaul. But to go over some of the changes here, it expands the docks and canals of Balmora, just adding elements of industry, where small boats can come up the river and drop off goods, as is only appropriate for a major trading hub like Balmora. There's an expanded marketplace with an outdoor merchant, a central seating area in the plaza, an outdoor smithy, and just lots of, related market detailing. You've got cranes, strings of light, and lampposts, just all adding that tiny element of atmospheric verticality to the city streets. Other various parts of the city have been noticeably overhauled, with new walls like the one surrounding Hightown and the Temple District, including just, a few more decorative additions, while a bit more random detritus and overgrown plants litter places like Labortown. And there's also just a really neat little outdoor seating area for the Southall Corner Club. And again, you'll note that there's just a ton of immersive additions like drinking wells that have just been added in here and there for residents to draw water from. The northern gate of the city has in particular been given a lot of attention, with a new expansion of walls just alongside the temple complex, including just a few temple banners dangling from them, and some braziers lighting the top, which has just a really neat atmospheric effect. And you'll note the docks have also been expanded just outside the northern gates, adding a wee fishery for the locals to use. Now, yes, there is a single statue in the temple courtyard, and I know some people, particularly those in the modding community, do tend to get just a little enraged at statue spam. But I'd like to point out that Balmora is a fairly wealthy market town, and a single statue, just one, outside the temple isn't really that strange. So, put down the pitchforks, calm down. But anyway, this mod also includes a patch for the player housing mod, Welcome Home, a mod that adds dozens of new player homes for you to purchase across the game world of Morrowind. And specifically, this includes a patch for the buyable player home added to Balmora. So yes, in case you're wondering, these two mods are in fact compatible. I honestly have to say that Kolkunda's Balmora is still, 7 years after it was released, and nearly 6 years since we last showcased it. Really? It's been 6 years? How long have I been doing this? But anyway, this is honestly just a beautiful and breathtaking mod. Still worthy of consideration, even amongst the numerous, and there are quite a few, Balmora city overhauls out there today. It is a classic, much like the completely unrelated, but also quite stunning, 2009 classic city overhaul New Gunarmok by Melchior Dock. A mod so good, with so much lovely verticality, that Melchior himself once called it the crowning achievement of the community's city overhauls. A mod so good that it dwarfed anything in the vanilla game. And honestly, I cannot think of a better mod to complement Kolkunda's Balmora with, as two Hlaalu city overhauls, than a New Gunarmok. They make such an excellent pair. But, getting back to Kolkunda here, since our last showcase, just way back in 2017, Kolkunda's Balmora has continued to receive a number of critical new updates, including in 2020 and just earlier this year in 2023. And while I won't say it's the best ever city overhaul for Balmora, because, that is obviously quite subjective and quite a competitive title, it is one that I still recommend. It's a good option for those looking for a more immersive, more detailed city overhaul, for Balmora that doesn't necessarily go overboard, but also isn't quite as lightweight as some of the other options out there. It's a pretty good, just middle ground option with a lot of minor additions that, feel natural and almost blend in with the vanilla game. But anyway, that's just our mod of the day, so as always, I've been your host, Dark Elf Guy. Thanks for watching, stay safe, stay healthy, happy modding, and I'll see you all next time.